At America's home for racing, the ARCA stars are ready to battle. Who has what it takes to be crowned the winner? As emotions run high.
The leader's wrecked. Drew Dollar gets into the 20 of Corey Heim.
Just typical bonehead move by Drew. Just pure lack of talent.
And talent is rising.
You're good, man. You're an awesome driver. So proud of you.
Nick Sanchez, 20 years old from Miami, Florida. He wins it.
Who will wear the crown at Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight?
Charlotte Motor Speedway, the perfect setting to kick off Memorial Day weekend as we salute those who paid the ultimate price. We welcome you to the General Tire 150 presented by Menards. And joining us today is a man who grew up right here in Concord, North Carolina. He's got a heck of an arm. He's raced in all series. His dad's a little bit famous. And by the way, he has great hair. He's won a few times in the ARCA Menards series. And we are certainly excited to have the driver of the number 7 for Spire Motorsports in the Cup Series joining us. And oh yeah, by the way, son Jensen, born just 2 days ago. He's a 2-time dad. And we welcome you in. I'm Jamie Little, of course, Phil Parsons, and Corey LaJoy joining us for the first time. Congrats. How's everybody doing?
Mom and baby are well. They're at home. It's been a wild 36 hours. So mom and baby are healthy. I'm just excited to get the weekend kicked off here with 1,250 miles of racing here at Charlotte.
There's a lot on the plate. We're happy to have you here. And Phil, last time we were on track 2 weeks ago at Kansas, well, let's just say we had two really good buddies. They battled it out side by side, and they wreck each other. What a moment. They're both in the race here. What do you expect?
Well, there's going to be no payback because I talked to those guys down in the garage here. They're friends. They actually rode home on the plane together. This was a racing incident, racing for the win, basically, racing for the lead. They knew whoever got the clean air was going to be king, and just one of those deals.
Well, I believe the owner of that number 20 went viral. That's Billy Venturini. I'm not sure he's over that situation. Let's find out. He's standing by with Kate Osborne.
Well, Corey Heim maybe didn't win Kansas, but Billy Venturini definitely won the internet of NASCAR after Kansas. How much of that emotion was left in Kansas, and how much of it did you actually bring to the track today for a little payback?
Oh, no, there's no payback. Nah, that was left there. I wasn't even angry. I was just a little disgusted with the situation. But no, we leave that in Kansas. We're racers. We come back here and a whole new day. I got to be honest, I'm not worried about racing them at all. They're really good. The Gibbs covers are really good today. We're struggling, but we threw a lot at it after practice, and hopefully we can get up there.
What were some of those changes? We know you guys are starting 6th, 8th, and 18th.
Just some spring shocks, sway bars, things like that. Pretty much every tuning device we had. So we threw a lot at it. The 15, I think, actually has a pretty balanced car. The 20 was a little bit off. So who knows? We weren't good here last year, finished 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. But I think hopefully this goes better than it did last year because he struggled here last year. But we feel like we got a good handle on race cars right now.
All right, that's all they could really ask for. Venturini Motorsports is looking for their first win here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
I love it. Whether you're a driver or an owner, you always say, oh, it's behind us. We're moving on until there's something that happens on the racetrack, right?
Oh, for sure. And when somebody screenshots you your racing reference stats, that's sensitive area. You don't mess with that. So the drivers might not be mad at each other, but the Billy's still carrying some feelings for sure.
Absolutely. It's interesting when we come to this track, it's not just another mile and a half. I've heard a lot of Cup drivers this week alone say how challenging this place is, especially when they first started coming here. What makes it so different?
Well, one of the things is so weather sensitive too. I mean, if you get a cloud cover, all of a sudden the racetrack changes. These guys did all their practicing and qualifying in the heat of the day, and we're going to race at night. So that's some adjustments they have to make and have to guess out a little bit, but very, very challenging racetrack, and the way the corners are shaped as well.
So much to think about. I don't know. What do you think? We have Nick Sanchez. He's been on a roll. Raja Caruth and Brandon Jones on the pole here.
Oh, I mean, everybody wants to beat that 81 car today. He's the guy with the target on his back. But I'm going to go with Raja. My buddy Raja, he needs to break that barrier and get in victory lane because I think he can start rolling. So let's go with that 6 car.
And Raja in the 6 has been so solid. Another great qualifying effort for him. 25 cars ready to go. Let's now send it trackside for the command.
And now, race fans, here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome from Randall's Tire Pros, Justin Myers.
Drivers, start your engine!
That's how you fire them up. Well done. The engines are fired. 150 miles coming at you. We'll be back to Charlotte Motor Speedway here on FS1.
Hi, I'm Jeff from Nuts.com. When my grandfather started this business in 1929, he relied on 4 important values: freshness, quality, variety, and service. I'm proud to carry on his legacy, but from a bigger space. We still freshly roast, season, and dip delicious nuts here in New Jersey and deliver them with the freshest dry fruits, snacks, and sweets to families that love our products all around the country, including mine. We think you'll love Nuts.com too, so check us out and enjoy free shipping on your first order.
Our drivers have raced at Charlotte Motor Speedway for 62 years. The ARCA Menards Series has been making regular visits here since 1996. Tim Steele, Frank Kimmel, Adam Petty, and Kerry Earnhardt are just a few of the names that have won at Charlotte over the years. Newly elected NASCAR Hall of Famer Kirk Shelmerdine is most known for his 4 championships as crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Sr. But Shelmerdine also found success as a driver in the ARCA Menards Series, winning 2 races here at Charlotte. First finding victory lane in 1999, and then again 4 years later.
The checkered flag will wave this time around, and Kirk Shelmerdine will bag his second career victory here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Kirk Shelmerdine not only knew how to build a fast race car, he knew how to drive one too.
What a great story there by Kirk Shelmerdine, Dale Sr.'s crew chief to a race-winning driver, and he will become a member of the 2023 NASCAR Hall of Fame class. Very happy for him and his family. Well, as you see, it's been a beautiful day. Not a drop of rain. It's been blue skies, 80 degrees. Partly cloudy, track temp 113. We're ready for a doubleheader. A little ARCA action now. Truck Series tonight. And we've talked a lot about Nick Sanchez. He has been a man on a mission. He's won the last 2 straight ARCA Menards Series races. This is the last race. Nick Sanchez so focused. You see him here side by side with Raja Karu.
Man, strong run by him. Passes his teammate Raja. 1-2 finish by Rev Racing. Slippery and strong today, Phil.
Yeah, Nick Sanchez is a real deal. Now doing double duty here this weekend. Also, we'll run the Xfinity race tomorrow night. So this track time is certainly going to help Nick Sanchez.
A little bit deeper than I'm sure he wanted to qualify. P7's tough here because dirty air is really prevalent here at Charlotte, especially when you get in that traction compound and it gets down a single lane. But he's going to be fighting his way to the front.
And he'll start 7th, as you mentioned, a little deeper than we're used to seeing him, but see if he can keep this streak alive. Well, earlier today, one practice session that was also qualifying. Fastest lap went to that guy, Brandon Jones, the number 81. Good to see him back in the ARCA Menards Series. Runs a few races, handful of races every year.
Yeah, this is the first of 5 races that he's going to run, and no big surprise that Brandon Jones sat on the pole. Really, really good race car driver. Top 5 also in Xfinity qualifying today.
Man, he does not want to come to the ARCA Series today and run anything worse than where he's starting. But there's a couple guys, one to the outside of him, teammate in Drew Dollar, trying to make sure they take that checkered flag in front of a teammate.
So General Tire Pole Award was Brandon Jones. And as you see, the General Tire grid, let's check in one more time with Kate Osborne.
Well, Jamie, it is no secret that experience really does pay here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And in fact, only 13 of 26 drivers have actually raced here at this track. But one of those drivers is Parker Chase, the number 15. And he finished 4th here last year, telling me that he has had this race circled ever since. He feels that with those bumps in turns 3 and 4, his road racing experience really pays off, as he's been doing some IMSA racing for the last 11 years. Now that's really important for him here today as he continues to capitalize on what that means for him and the team altogether. He told me that he was extremely loose in practice, but we did hear Billy Venturini say that the number 15 car seems to be pretty balanced out there. So Parker Chase, another guy to watch for here today.
Thank you, Kate. Yes, he embraces the bumps. That's the first time I've heard that today. Most drivers, that was the hardest part of the racetrack between 3 and 4. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., head over to the ARCA Menards Series Twitter page at ARCA_racing to vote on what moment you think was today's sweet move of the race, presented by Reese's. We do this each week, and it's a lot of fun because I think we always have some standout moments, some good nominees there. So.
Yeah, we'll have them early and often, I would think.
Yes, it is Charlotte. It is narrow. It is fast, as we've talked about. And we have 5 onboards bringing you all the action from inside the race car. First up, the number 6 of Raja Karut, the General Tire onboard.
Rolling off 6 is that 15 car we were just mentioning, of Parker Chase carrying that Bounty rookie spotlighting car camera.
We're also going to ride along with Christian Rose. This is the Reese's onboard camera. Christian will start this 42 car back in the 17th position.
In that Carolina Custom number 43 is Daniel Dye. Definitely going to keep an eye on him starting 3rd. He's in a pretty good spot to fire off this thing.
And let's ride along with our pole sitter, Brandon Jones. This is the Menards onboard. Again, a 5-time winner here in the ARCA Menards Series, and is going to lead us from the pole.
Love that helmet.
Something I noticed right before we get going here is that 113-degree track temperature, Phil. Man, that is so slick, especially the way the sun sets here. All the sun is pointing over there into turn 3. On top of the bumps, man, it makes for an ill-handling car pretty quick.
And that's the hard end of the racetrack anyway over there in 3 and 4.
For sure. Super narrow. 2 guys running side by side can get caught up pretty quick.
And a big topic of conversation is the resin that's on the track. You can clearly see it. How will that factor in here early on?
That hot track temperature is going to make it really come alive early. We saw Xfinity guys really get to that 2nd, 3rd, and almost to that top lane that we generally don't get to see because it's dirty. But I don't think we'll see these guys get all the way up there because you won't see as many guys start working that dirt all the way up to the fence like we'll see tomorrow. But we'll definitely see guys utilize that grip here today.
Yeah, 100-lap race, 150 miles. You see we'll have a competition caution on or around lap number 50 with modified live pit stops.
First of 4 races here this weekend. Going to be absolutely beautiful.
It's a calm before the storm right here, Jamie.
It really is. Brandon Jones, though, he loves coming back to this series. He raced in here for years, won a lot of races, won here at Charlotte. And he said he just wants seat time. He wants to get out there and get a leg up for tomorrow's competition. As Brandon Jones leads them to his outside, Drew Dollar, his teammate, green flag is in the air.
Pretty good restart by a teammate rolling the outside, was able to hang on his quarter panel, get into 1. Might give him the advantage here getting down into turn 3.
Keep an eye on Raja there on the outside, lined up with Drew Dollar.
Really nice start by the 18 as he goes high in that resin for Drew Dollar. This will be his final race of the year. He wants to go out with a bang, but not so much. It's the 81 of Brandon Jones.
Well, we saw that the 18 commit to that middle lane in turn 3 and 4, and that PJ1 or traction compound's not quite activated yet. It's going to be more so activated in turn 1 and 2 because the radius of that corner's bigger, as we see Raja take the number 2 spot here down the back.
Great corner for Raja down there in 1 and 2. See Daniel Dye's hung right in there also in the 4th spot. Now he's going to move up the racetrack, almost into the wall.
Really tight quarters there with the 43 on the regular quarter, that 18 all the way up to the fence. Those guys about got in trouble early.
And Daniel Dye, we saw the same thing from him earlier in practice, Phil. We thought he had scraped the wall. I actually had to go ask him if he did, and he said, no, he just got up there high. He really wants to get up there near the wall, but, you know, this track is so new for a guy like him that he's not really sure where he can flirt with it.
Uh-oh, that's not good. Electrical fire in the cockpit of that
Parker
15.
Chase.
I don't think that's good, my man. Bring it down here to us, but he's going to make one more lap here. That's a good old-fashioned electrical fire catching that carbon fiber. Yeah, oh, no.
Definitely on fire.
It's melting the carbon fiber, so obviously that's how it mounts. I'm going to say that they did not intend for that to happen.
No, I'm sure they didn't.
They said the Venturini cars, they had their work cut out for them in practice. Meanwhile,
we got a car that's slowed in the front. Josh White in that 03. Looks like an engine. Oh, right front down.
So a few different incidents going on here.
We caught a glimpse of Nick Sanchez. Excuse me, Rajah Caruth actually taking the lead from Brandon Jones.
What?
And damage on the 43, Daniel Dye.
I don't know where to look.
What just happened?
I don't know where to look.
I wonder if Daniel saw the caution or a spotter told him about the caution. He backed off, and maybe somebody ran into the back of him that didn't get the word quick enough.
Holy moly, we got cars on fire, back bumpers flying all over the racetrack, cars in the fence, and it's only lap 4.
All right, the good news is Parker Chase has been able to bring it down pit road. As you see him still touching. Look at the Bounty logo just melted off there. Will he take it straight to the garage? No, he's going to bring it right into his pit box.
Well, when something like that happens, Phil, and come in here, I think that's usually when a bad ground or some two wires are rubbing when they're not supposed to rub.
Exactly.
And that's what happened there. We're going to see these guys jump in here, try to pull that fire out one. And maybe if they're really lucky, it doesn't burn any important wires. But I don't think there's any of them in there that aren't important.
Yeah.
I just hope it wasn't an in-car camera wire.
Yeah, I think it was still running, though. That's the key when he came to pit road. So.
Oh, man, it's still on fire. They're working on it, but, oh, man.
I've never seen something like this.
Neither have I. And
looked like the dash was loose, though.
Well, because it burnt the connector to the dash bar there. And let me tell you guys, you can't. If there was a scratch and sniff on your TV screen, it would smell terrible. The smell of burnt carbon fiber will stay in your nose for a week.
And burnt wires as well.
Oh, for sure. They're not having a good time down in the 15 pit area. 43 guys just pulled down in their pit box as well. I don't know what ARCA policies are with the rear bumper, if they need one attached, because that could be a positive, Phil, because there's a lot of downforce to be made if that back bumper is off, if the quarter panels are still intact. So I'm interested to see what they're going to make them do there.
So when all that was going on, Rajah Caruth got around Brandon Jones right about the time that the caution came out. So he's leading right now, showed first, and the 81 of Brandon Jones moved back to second. Nick Sanchez. So the 43 of Daniel Dye has now shifted down to 10th, and he's in his pit box. There's a lot of damage. You guys noted he got up high early.
We're getting a report that the ARCA officials do not require a rear bumper, so he should be able to get that car back on the racetrack. They're going to drop the jack. He will stay on the lead lap, so good news for Daniel Dye. We saw him get 2 laps down at Kansas last time out, and he got both those laps back and ended up with a top 5 finish.
There's a lot of damage on that 43 car, but let's take that look for the lead right quick.
So here's how it went down. Brandon Jones, Rajah Caruth.
Ooh, nice move there, Jamie. He faked to the bottom, went to that middle lane, and got the run down the back.
Driving like a wily veteran out there to take the lead right here. Gets by the Xfinity Series regular, Brandon Jones.
Now, that was a great move. Now, my question is, how much is the 81 pacing right now, knowing he's got to go 50 laps on these tires?
All right, let's see. This is when it happened. Parker Chase on board. It starts smoking. You see that dash start to melt and fall down.
So you see that red switch right next to that Bounty sticker on the dashboard. That's the main power switch, and that's where all the electrical wires come together and meet. So there must be a loose connection there to happen that early in the race.
Yeah, from his vantage point, he might not have seen the flames. He sees the smoke, obviously. You see how much lower the flames are than what he can see. So he's just figuring to think smoking a little bit. And then I'm sure his guys are watching our TV broadcast and say, hey, by the way, you're on fire.
Can only imagine, like you said, what it smells like. Let's get an update from pit road. Kate, a lot of things going on here early on.
Get up, and he didn't get up when he told him to. Yeah. And that's when he got up into the wall.
Yeah. Well, right now, in talking with the number 15 team, they're saying they need a dash and wiring harness and replace that. There obviously is no ignition within the Parker Chase car and pushing him back. Meanwhile, in the 43 camp with Daniel Dye, the team was actually getting on him, telling him to get up and get going into turn 1, and you did not do that in time. And they proceeded to kind of scold him and say, you got to do that when I told you to do that. Additionally, he said that the spotters... he kind of may have brushed it with the 18 car before that number. He thought that he may have brushed the 18 before kind of hitting the wall, and that was the number 43 car.
Thanks, Kate. Yes, and you saw Kevin Reed there, the crew chief on the 15. We have more to figure out here as we see the 18 of Drew Dollar has fallen off the pace. We'll get the update after this break. ARCA Racing on FS1 is brought to you by Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. By Sioux Chief, America's manufacturer of plumbing, drainage, supply, and support products. And by Richmond Water Heaters, the water heater experts, available at Menards. Well, it has been an eventful, first 6 laps of this race.
There was one lap that was really eventful.
Yes.
17 different things happened in that one lap.
And they were all unrelated.
They really were. So let's look and see what happened in the 43. Daniel Dye.
So it looks like the old school just pinched, not really knowing the guys on your right rear quarter. Now, this is a bad spot for a spotter to try to see it out into turn 1. They're going away from you. But, man, that's a little bit too tight to be running somebody 8 laps into the race.
So that's the 18 of Drew Dollar that got into him. That explains why he is out. So let's listen to what they said on the 43 radio.
Yeah, I told you to get up before the start-finish line, and you didn't try to come up until we were almost into 1. If I say it, we got to go, bud.
All righty.
That's communication with a spotter. Obviously, sometimes they don't use the same spotter that he does in some of the other ARCA races, as we take a look at the 18 of Drew Dollar, who's behind the wall from that contact.
Mark McFarland working on this car. Of course, this car led 100 laps out of 100 last year.
I tried to get it to him. The right front uppers looks broke. Obviously, the left front fender's in pretty heavy. So, okay, just drive it to our garage stall.
And you heard the radio there. I tried to give it to him. It sounds like he tried to give room to Daniel Dye.
Didn't cut too much of a slack. There probably could have been a little more give there than Tank. They put a whole new dash in the inside of that 15. Now, that just goes to show how important every single point is for the year-long points, because those guys are thrashing, getting a whole new wiring harness in that car. And they haven't even lost 2 or 3 laps.
It's amazing to me what these crews are able to do in the spur of a moment, to be able to recreate what they need just to get back out on the track, like you're seeing here. All hands on deck.
Well, the reason why the caution's been so long is there was some oil speedy dry down, laid down into turn 1. They're cleaning up. So they had a little bit more time than they generally would have, but they're getting some work done on the inside of that 15.
Corey, you talked about every point mattering. That's because there's also another race within this race, this General Tire Super Speedway Challenge. All the 7 Super Speedway races all have a point fund. You can see who won these races early. Nick Sanchez with the last 2, Corey Heim won Daytona, and this is a point system within the point system. And this goes to the car owners, so you can have different drivers. Like Parker Chase does not run that 15 car full time, but that car is also eligible for that point championship. So that's why every point is important. You have this other point system right within the entire ARCA Menards system.
Stacking pennies, Jamie. Every penny matters. That's what we're doing here.
Check out the podcast if you've never heard it before.
Yeah.
Well, as we continue under caution here for the first time today, let's take a look at the General Tire driver profile.
It's always been a marquee race in the sport, not just ARCA, but, Cup Series of Coke 600, and, it's a day to honor and fallen veterans. It's always really cool to get to give back and show our support for the troops.
It's always been a really good tradition. The Coke 600 down to Xfinity, Truck, and ARCA, it's always running that one weekend. So to be a part of that weekend is very special for sure.
Even though I'm Canadian, I've raced in the States for the last 20 years. Now the U.S. is my home. So for me to live here, it's truly a privilege. I came here for opportunity and freedom, and I know that freedom doesn't go without the sacrifice of the U.S. military. So to me, it means a lot.
It's just a really cool energy all the way through the garage, and as well just kind of the whole city is kind of focused on the weekend and the race as well.
It's the hub of NASCAR. It's the soul of what we do. Everybody around there is involved with racing, part of racing, and to be able to do that on Memorial Day and honor those that have fallen, for us to be able to do what we do, it makes it all that much more special.
And a special weekend. It certainly is. Honored to be part of it. Everywhere you look, the stars and the stripes. We'll see all different branches of the military here throughout the weekend. We thank those who paid the ultimate sacrifice, and of course their families. We'll have a lot of those families out here for the 600 miles of remembrance on Sunday.
I tell you, NASCAR and Charlotte Motor Speedway have always done such a great job honoring our veterans. on this weekend.
So USO and Coke are on my car this weekend. Red, white, and blue looks amazing. All the people at USO have been so fun to work with, and the impact they make in active military members. We're going to have over 1,000 military members here on site for Sunday,
That's
Phil.
awesome.
So Marcus and SMI knock it out of the park with the pre-race stuff. So I hope everybody can come down here and watch the 600 miles here on Sunday.
Got a great concert lineup for this weekend as well.
Leonard Skinner, too, pre-race concert.
Steve Miller tomorrow night, huh?
Yes.
Steve Miller.
And the 15's back on the track.
How about that?
Holy moly. They didn't even miss a green flag lap.
A few bounty towels wiped on there, just a little aftermath, and he's good to go.
Yeah. Bag of Sioux Chief, some bounty, and some duct tape, and a new dashboard in that 15 car. He's only down 5 laps. How many down?
7 looks like.
7 laps. So he needs a bounty paper towel dipped in something smelly fresh and put it right underneath his helmet, because that's got to smell bad.
Maybe some air. I'm sure you can get some air fresheners at Menards for sure that hang in some of those things, because the inside of that car is not very pleasant right now.
And Drew Dollar, you saw as the work continues back there to see if they can continue or not. But the 43, he came in a few times. Looks like they're going to be okay and continue. Let's get a quick update, Kate. What are they saying on the 18?
The 18, Drew Dollar, is still actually sitting in the driver's seat. I asked him, what happened from your point of view? And he said the 43 just went cross country. I don't know if it was a driver issue or a spotter issue. Right now, that the front upper broke, and that body, the crush in the right rear, they're just trying to fix it. They don't want to go back out. Mark McFarland was saying they don't want to go back out and continuously crash this thing. They want to make sure it's right if they are going to go back out. But Drew Dollar does still sit in the driver's seat.
Thank you, Kate. So still trying to decide on that. And Daniel Dye, work continues there.
Now they're still working on the thing pretty heavy, and I'm sure they want to make sure that thing is as close to straight as they can make it. But aerodynamically, Phil, with that thing missing a rear bumper like that, if the suspension's pretty straight, that thing could have a lot less drag and a lot more downforce.
Yeah, I looked at the right side of the car pretty hard, and it doesn't seem to be a great deal of damage. And I know Chad Bryant, the crew chief, would adjust the toe if it felt like the right front had hit the wall. So I think he should be fine. Obviously, he's going to lost all his tracking position. He needs to get on off pit road and get back and join the field here. The field is over in turn 3 now, and Daniel Dye sitting on pit road.
So Raja,
make sure to get tight, clear your head, refocus, go back to work.
I like it. Clear your head, focus. Talking to Raja Cruz, that's going to lead the field here for the restart.
A long way to go, but this is a position that Raja's not used to being in. Being the control car in this restart, leading them down to the box. Being that control car in the restart, there's a lot of games you can play.
Raja Caruth on the inside, Brandon Jones on the outside.
Corey Heim pushing that 81 car of Brandon Jones.
And the 2 teammates in the bottom lane not hooked up, so that'll let that 81 jump out door to door with the leader there as they head down the backstretch. I'm looking for the bottom to be the dominant lane here on these cold tires. There we go. The top in 3 and 4 is not quite worked in yet. Once the tires get hot, they'll be looking for that little bit extra grip in the top. But right now, the 6 set sail on Brandon Jones.
Yeah, get that traction compound heated up a little bit. Should be a lot more grip up there in that second lane.
Once the tires get to peak temperature is really when they start opening that traction compound up. So the first couple laps, it takes 8 to 10 laps about everywhere we go for that traction adhesive to be really effective.
Last time we saw Raja Caruth following his second place finish, career best finish at Kansas. He said if he just had a couple more laps, he felt like what could have been if he could have stopped Nick Sanchez, his teammate. But this kid is good. He's the real deal. Finished 4th, 6th, 2nd the last 3 races as he goes side by side with the 20.
But I'll tell you what, Jamie, it's not fun when you see your teammate keep bringing all the trophies home and you're the one sitting there watching, right? You get the company lunches and you get all the tweets and everything that comes along with winning the race. But if you're the teammate and Nick Sanchez winning 3 out of the last 5, nobody wants to get a win more than Raja does.
Pretty impressive run early on here, too, for Raja. You see him driving away from the 81 of Brandon Jones.
really strong. Brad Parrott, crew chief in that 6 car, has been working really hard, not just on the car itself, but just on how to extract the most amount of information through practice from Raja to continue to make the correct changes on that car, and it's really shown up today.
It was only about a 45-minute practice, so it's not like these young men drove and ladies drove all day long in practice. They had about a 45-minute practice and had to get it done then. But you see Corey Heim moved up into the third position. Corey, remember, talked about he wasn't very good in practice, and Billy Venturini told us that he wasn't that good to start with, but they always seem to make it happen. Last year he wasn't very good in practice either, and he finishes second.
Let's kick it down to Kate. She's got something for us.
Well, Corey, Raja Karuth was saying that he's a little too tight at the 2/3 mark in 1 and 2, but he is okay in turns 3 and 4. You guys were talking about him moving up to the traction compound. He said, man, I tried that in practice and it is so slick. He told me that he is not going to be the first one up there, and he's going to have more discipline on the bottom. Corey, he also said, watch for his gloves, and you can see how loose or tight that car is.
For sure, especially it helps when you have in-car camera. You can really see those things moving around. We saw him experiment with that middle lane over there in 3 and 4, but he went to the bottom in 1 and 2. And the bottom in 1 and 2 has considerably more banking, it feels like, than 3 and 4. So I feel like the bottom will sustain a little bit longer there. But as you see out of the windshield of the second place driver, Raja can get a really good big arc. Andy Jankowiak feeds old Will Kimmel the quarter panel right there. Got a little bit loose on landing and drives away. Everybody knows Andy Jankowiak. His second job is a pizza delivery guy.
It's such a great story. And Will Kimmel in the 69 again, who did a great job at Kansas, and good to see him back.
And Scott Melton is here. I talked to Scott earlier in the garage area. Scott's the guy that normally drives this car. Actually broke his leg at Talladega a couple of races ago, but he said, hey, I'm not going to close this team down. We're going to keep racing. He put Will back in the car. Scott's here watching. I'm glad to see him, and hopefully he's back soon.
And that number 69 looks so clean. Did a really nice job with it. And then Andy J. So Kate was talking to him earlier today. He got here at the track at 5 a.m., came in early when the gates opened. Then he took a nap. Well, he missed a little bit of his practice session. So here he is. He woke up, got a few laps, qualified all right, and Andy J, who ran in the top 10 almost every race he ran last year.
Well, let's shine a light on these guys. These guys are racing for 5th right now. With a couple guys out, these guys are getting a chance to run up inside the top 5 where they generally don't. Caution's out. Got somebody slow off turn 4.
It's Andy J.
Just talking about him.
The booth jinx, Phil.
Yeah, for sure.
The booth jinx.
Andy Jankowiak, let's see exactly what happened.
Running the bottom. Oh, no.
Right front went down.
So Andy J in the wall. We had a nice battle for second. Heim and Jones duking it out. But Raja Karuth now has led 19 laps. That's more laps than he has led in all of his career combined starts. We'll be back. You're watching the ARCA Menards series at General Tire 150. Welcome back to the General Tire 150 at Charlotte. FS1 presented by Menards. And man, this has been something so far. 25 laps into a 100-lap race for the ARCA Menards series. Let's look back at exactly what happened. We had more action happen under caution.
Caution flags out. Look top right side of your screen. That's Brian Doza in the 57. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but watch this. He's going to run into Daniel Dye as if Daniel didn't have enough problems from that earlier incident. And now he has more damage than he got from the first incident.
I'm so confused. I don't know what's going on right now. Is it a full moon?
Watch this. Watch Daniel Dye.
We're going to ride with Daniel.
Let's listen to it.
Oh, my Lanta.
He looks in the mirror and says, what happened? Who hit me?
My man's going 40 miles an hour and is getting hit by everything but the pace car today. Give Daniel Dye a break for a second. Let him ride around and make some laps.
He's made like 6 trips down pit lane, trying to fix his damage, minding his own business. Under caution. Oh, no.
I really don't have any idea, Phil, what went on there.
They thought the back of their car was the only issue. They've got big problems now. Kate, what are they saying in the 43 camp?
What they're actually talking about is the fact that tire went down. They brought that 43 in here, and in fact it wasn't. They took it off, put it right back on, and sent that car back out. They did tell them to go low and slow by the cleanup vehicle, but it was a hit by another car on track.
Daniel Dye right now shown in 17th position in the 43. It has been an eventful day for him, and you see the tire smoke there.
Everything I said about an aerodynamic advantage with that bumper being on, I'd take that all back. Because
he's got a parachute now?
That car is beaten, battered, and bruised, unfortunately. And that one was no fault of Daniel at all. I don't really know what Brian Duzet was doing there, but, you know, you'll have that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, Amber Balkin having a decent run so far in 8th. This is what they're talking about on the radio.
I can feel that. It's not that I have to turn down like quicker. It's just like I need a more gradual turn to get to the bottom a little later.
Just a little bit. Like, you did that last one, and you killed the guys behind you. And so, like, just work on that, get a foot at a time.
And as you hear there, those are just little things that they're trying to help Amber. Her first time racing here. And Phil, you know, your arc here at Charlotte is so important. You can open that thing up 2-3 feet and get down to move your apex around the corner a little bit more and really help your exit.
And that's what the spotter said. It said it really showed up on the racetrack too.
For sure. And the straightaways here are so long, and especially in turn 3 and 4, if you miss that center apex by a foot, if you're trying to get that left front tire right to the white line and find that little extra grip, if you miss it and you end up in no man's land, it kills your momentum down the front straightaway.
Well, I've talked about Amber Balkin and how much she trains out of the car. You could get motivated looking at her videos on social media. Kate, she talks about it all the time. Very interesting training.
Absolutely interesting training. In fact, she works out every day of the week, both physical training and peripheral vision training, sensory work. As you can see there, she's working on her neck, training those neck muscles, making sure that not only core, legs, and upper body are strong, but it's so important to have that neck strength. And you see her doing this peripheral and sensory training. Cognitive training, she said, is just as important. She likes to call it training the brain, making sure that's just as sharp as her body is sharp in the car.
So I've got one of those Synaptech boards at the shop, and it certainly works. It helps. And it's not just one thing. I think everybody does a little bit something different. Some guys ride bikes, some guys run, some guys work out and lift weights. With that contraption you saw that looked like a bear snatch on her head, it's called an iron neck. And it's something that's new come out and definitely strengthens your neck up, especially for the G-forces here at a place like Charlotte, really tired out. So it's cool to see Amber Balkin utilizing all the tools she has to make her a better race car driver.
Definitely putting in the work. Let's hear what the leader is talking about.
A very small adjustment based on what I've seen so far.
I'm on the free side, and I can do stuff with that, you know. Not like if we're like plowing, then we're kind of starting from square zero, you know.
All right, so what I'm hearing is he likes the free car. He can move it around more than if it's tight, but they made a little adjustment.
Well, also, you only get one shot at it with that at the halfway break. So you want to make sure whatever you change, if anything, is the right way to go, because you only get one crack at it. The track takes a big swing once it goes to full shade. And, well, we got some doggies here playing in the infield. That's what we really want to talk about, Jamie.
Well, Artie Kempner, our director, knows that I love dogs. So we have to get that one shot of dogs in. And speaking of, let's get back to racing action. Raja Karuth for his second restart, controlling the field, and Corey Heim in the 20 on the outside.
A little bit of wheel spin out of the 6.
And a little bit of a push from Brandon Jones in the 81. But how about this outside line?
Man, the 2 looking strong on the bottom, in a great position already. The 6 losing 2 spots right off the bat from a little bit of wheel spin. That's one learning experience Rajat's going to continue to learn.
And Nick Sanchez has been so good on restarts, and I think it's contributed to a couple of his wins. We've seen him win 3 races in the last 5, and he showed it right there, the strength as he takes the lead, working his way around Corey Heim, but Corey Heim not giving up, side by side. They cross the start-finish line. The edge goes to the 20 of Corey Heim. Nick Sanchez on the bottom.
Look how close there. Raja really needs to be patient here. We know he has a good car. Don't push the issue right here. Let these 2 guys settle it out and then pick them off one at a time.
Well, right now he's trying to choose which lane he goes with, which car he thinks is going to be able to roll. He's going to go to the middle here and try to show a left front headlight to get some clean air in between those 2 cars. But let me tell you, Raja was talking about being a little bit free as he gets challenged by the 81 of Brandon Jones. He's a little bit free in clean air. That balance is going to change as he's behind 2 or 3 guys. Right now, he needs to settle in, collect himself, and go attack and press the attack.
Yeah, long way to go here. Way too early to take any chances.
You heard Raja's crew chief talk about an adjustment. So perhaps they had made an air pressure adjustment, but if he doesn't want it, you know, when they come back in, they can go back on it when they put those new tires on. And remember, we will have that midway break around lap 50, on or around lap 50. Then we'll have the modified pit stop here.
So you see Raja that's just happens when you try to put the throttle down and the wheels just don't physically grip the racetrack. Now there's some different things you can do to spin your tires on the backstretch and get some heat in it, but when you try to go to the pedal wide open, it legitimately just spins the tires like you're doing a burnout.
Some of the drivers down in the garage here were talking about which lane did they think was going to be better for a restart. Most of the popular opinion said they thought the inside would have a little more grip. With trouble.
Oh, big hit out of
Will Kimmel in the 69.
All right, get out right there. Yeah, you got fire on my right front.
Flames both ends of this race car. Window net is down.
Big hit.
He was running 5th at the time of the impact.
He popped out fresh as a daisy. Unfortunately, his car is not. Big lick out of that 69. Will's one of the all-time great ARCA personalities. Great guy, but his car right now is in bad shape, Phil.
Has a little look of the right front tire as well, as we saw earlier. Tough break.
They
looking
got that
for a great run.
He was pretty good spot there, sitting in the 5th position. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Now we've seen a couple right front issues, a couple different culprits of that. Could just be you run something over with some bad luck, or the tires could a little bit too much camber. We're getting down to almost the halfway break, 15 laps to go. If guys didn't get great wears in practice and didn't adjust that camber properly, you might see some over camber issues.
Yeah, but we've already had 16 laps of caution. We really only run about 16 green flag laps.
That's a good point.
A lot of incidents, though. Some debris out on the track.
Yeah, Corey's already into the wall there. Sure has the look of a right front tire going down.
He confused me a bit because the last name on the windshield's Melton, so I didn't want to say the wrong name, but it's Will Kimmel.
Yes, Scott Melton's car. We were talking about that earlier.
And Scott is here. He's normally in the car, but he was injured, of course, in an accident earlier this season. So he turned over the keys, as you will, to Will Kimmel for a couple of races, made the most of it at Kansas, finished 6th, was running 5th when this happened.
And I'm sure Scott is glad he was not in that car for this incident right here.
Yes.
Man, let me tell you, that is a tough angle, tough lick down there in the turn 3. And you were just a passenger. As soon as that right front tire goes down, man, there's nothing you can do. And you just hope you don't hit the wall at a terrible angle, but at 69, chose the worst one to hit.
Cleanup continues. Nick Sanchez, Corey Heim, your leaders. ARCA Racing on FS1 is brought to you by General Tire. Anywhere is possible. By Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's, not sorry. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards. Well, what a day it's been so far. If you like what you're seeing from the ARCA Menards series, we have a lot of great races coming up. We have some dirt, we have road courses, we have short tracks. What do you like?
3 short tracks lined up next, and then we go to the road course at Mid-Ohio, which is our next broadcast on July 8th.
Man, that's something for everybody. We go to Mid-Ohio. They're going to dirt tracks. They're going to short tracks. They're going to Michigan, which is one of the largest tracks on our schedule as well. So definitely a huge mix of racetracks, even more so than the Cup Series.
Well, it's all about development, right? And getting you drivers. Like you came up, you raced in this series a little bit, just preparing you for what's ahead. And now, I mean, they run on dirt. Cup drivers, they didn't even run on. A lot of them never ran on dirt before they came to the Cup Series.
My first dirt race was at Bristol with dirt on top of it. So it was all a learning experience to me.
All right, Raja Karuth had that hiccup on the restart. Let's listen in.
At that later point, you're turning a little bit instead of being straight, and that's probably why you spun your tires.
It felt like he hit me first, but 10-4.
Just got to work on some stuff there. We got plenty of time here. Just take a breath. Everything's good.
All right.
And he was talking about Brandon Jones in the 81 that was right behind him.
Yeah, that is a huge factor. If somebody gets into you right at the same time you want to put the bumper to you before you put that power down,
so
definitely bounces sideways.
2 fires, wreck under caution, 7 cars with an issue, 3 lead changes. What's next? Stay tuned. And welcome back to the General Tire 150 at Charlotte on FS1, presented by Menards. Race families in the stands enjoying this evening. It is just beautiful here. It's not super hot and sticky. It's been absolutely beautiful. We expect it to continue through Sunday. And speaking of Sunday, on Fox, it's the most patriotic day in racing as Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and the best drivers in the world battle at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Coke 600. Coverage begins at 5 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Of course, our man, Corey LaJoie, sitting to my right in the number 7. Big day for you.
It is. It's, man, the Coke 600 hometown race, but it's a crown jewel. There's 4 or 5 races on schedule that you want to run well at, and this is certainly one of them. I've run well here in the past, and we've been on a bit of a roll, so I'm excited to see what we can do here this weekend with that USO Camaro.
And you guys will have practice and qualifying coming up tomorrow night, Saturday night, right here on FS1. Let's get an update quick with Kate.
Well, the team is telling Corey Heim to find your rhythm out there. Corey responds by saying, hey, that resin is getting really greasy. They told him to turn that right rear fan on and that left front on. Billy Venturini then actually popped up on the radio and said, hey, Corey, it's Billy. Thinking you need to run the top of 1 and 2. It's good when we are up to speed, but when you go down to turns 3 and 4, you got to be on the bottom. You're much faster on the bottom of turns 3 and 4. So that is the strategy that's happening between the 20 camp. Meanwhile, we're just going to put a button there on what that rivalry is between Corey Heim and Drew Dollar. Drew Dollar is out for the remainder of today and currently the season, as this was the last scheduled race that he has. He's looking to go to UGA in the fall, and he is going to represent his school. And there's a chance we'll see him in some other racing, but right now his career with ARCA Menards Series is done.
Tough break for Drew Dollar, not the way he wanted to have that send-off.
It looks like they're actually working on that car, maybe adjusting the toe-in, because I see the window net up. I'm not sure if Drew's still in that car. So I think they may, they're trying to figure out if they can get that car repaired to see if they can go back.
I'll tell you, Phil, with all these cars dropping out, they might be able to run about 9th or 10th. With who knows who's going to be left in this.
So right, we're going. You know, she talked about the 20 and Corey Heim, and they told him how if he runs the top in 3 and 4, he's a little bit slower. And we saw that the last couple of laps, that's really where Sanchez got him when he was stuck on the bottom.
Yeah, and that stuff, the track compound, it's not really consistent. It really is sensitive to air temperature, tire temperature, how early in the run you can get up there, how late in the run, or how old your tires are. So, and it also starts peeling up a little bit. So you definitely have to stay on your toes and keep adjusting that track compound all night.
And the mixture is different from track to track, right? This is not necessarily the same thing that you guys raced on last weekend in Texas. They modify that mixture a little bit.
So they'll spray it, they'll tire drag it, they'll spray it, tire drag it. So they did that process at Texas 3 times. Here they only did the process once because they knew that middle to top was going to be really prevalent over the bottom. But I do think we'll see that stuff go away a little bit sooner because of that.
Do you miss running these styles of cars at all?
I miss my name being up towards the top of the pylon on a weekly basis, I'll be honest with you, because the Cup Series is freaking hard, man. Because a good day for us right now is, 15th to 20th in the Cup Series with what we're up against. But, I think about this, and I think about what these guys are learning, the life lessons, not only behind the wheel, just learning how to be a race car driver, to work with your team, to figure out just how to get the most out of your guys, keep yourself motivated. That's what the most I remembered and really loved about this racing the ARCA series.
And communication with your guys, communication with your spotter, which has become so necessary in recent years, how much the spotter will actually help you. Originally, spotter said, there's a caution in turn 1. That's basically where the spotter started and stopped. Now they're very much an integral part of what goes on.
Man, you're talking about, you listen to Coleman Presley and Joey Logano talk back and forth, and they give each other a PhD and just driving lines over the course of the race. And I think Coleman won Darlington for Joey just by what he did for him throughout the course of the day.
It's all personal preference. Some like just a few words, others love that. All the intel, the better. Nick Sanchez, Corey Heim, Raja Caruth, and Brandon Jones in the top 4.
Well, Corey spun the tires a little bit on the outside that time.
Yeah, and Raja got a good restart right to the back bumper of that, too, as they both rolled the bottom underneath Corey Heim.
I tell you, Rev Racing, that's Nick Sanchez and the two. Raja, you see him side by side with Corhan for second, has been so impressive this year. In the entire series.
Man, those cars have a lot of speed. They look good, man. They get over the bumps well. They have good skew compared to some of the other guys. So those guys have definitely found some speed and some grip in those Chevrolets.
And Chevrolet really coming on board strong with them, really looking to these guys as the future. And it's, you were talking about, you know, doing your homework, talking to your spotter. Those guys right now running 1 and 2, Sanchez and Carruth, they really lean on those veteran drivers. They're not afraid to call them and pick the brain. Like Nick Sanchez talked about, Austin Cindric talks to him all the time. And look at the two battling for yet the lead once again, as we've seen the last couple of races in a row.
And Raja really leans on Bubba Wallace. Good friends, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Bubba, certainly watching on TV, if he's here, maybe on his pit box.
For sure. I mean, I help Raja as well. He comes to me and asks questions on notes for particular places. So I do love helping the young guys who genuinely ask questions and want to make themselves better. But what we saw, rewind back to 3 and 4 last lap, Raja got to the bottom a little bit too quick and washed out and gapped himself 2 or 3 car lengths to the leader. So if he just would be patient, Phil, and wrap that line a little bit longer around at the half mark, he would be able
out right there.
And there you hear his spotter even saying better. But
lane 2 or no? In 3 and 4? Not right now, no.
So the 6 is starting to like that middle groove. That's how he got the lead from Brandon Jones the first time. Big run here to the back bumper of the 6, looking to the inside.
That was a huge run the 6 had running on the outside.
Contact.
Ooh. Really tight to the door. He's hanging on that quarter. That's the danger zone, but it looks like he's going to clear him tight. Not tight.
And runs him in the wall.
Teammates together.
Nick into the wall.
Nick Sanchez, the 2, gets together with Raja Carruth, battling for the lead. We'll have to wait and see if there's any substantial damage. And the caution waves. Hearing there may be fluid on the racetrack. Looks like somebody else blowing it. Yep, Andy Jankowiak, the 73.
He's on fire as well.
And that would be the 3rd fire we've seen of the day.
Looks like it went out now.
That sounds like the voice of TJ Majors. Contrary to what he said, it did not go out. It is still on fire.
Start stopping, Andy. You got a fire underneath it. They want us to stop.
Andy J, a bunch of his buddies, volunteers, build these cars themselves. I mean, the time, effort, the sweat that goes into this just to get to the racetrack. You hate to see something like that happen.
And all with full-time jobs, too, including Andy.
Including him as a pizza delivery man. And you see that AMR safety crew so quickly on the scene to make sure he gets out safely, make sure they get that fire out.
I would say that was probably some residual damage from that right front tire impact he had earlier in the race. I don't know if the radiator might have shifted over and it caught an oil line. That was an oil fire we saw there. And, you know, I think that was just product of that, unfortunately. And Andy J's day is done.
And this will be our mid-race break here at lap 47 as they continue to tend to Andy J. Let's look back at that battle for the lead between teammates.
Raja had a great run from the top side in 1 and 2, and that gave him all this momentum. But you see Nick fight back, put that left front fender right down on the quarter panel.
Ooh, that's tight. Oh, yeah. And once those left front.
Let's hear from Raja.
All right, I didn't mean to do that off 4. I think I just didn't turn for the dog leg early enough. Yeah, when I cleared you, you didn't take it, and then he got back out there, so that can be on me as well.
And I chalked that up as just a little bit of inexperience on both those guys. Those guys are racing hard for the lead, but when you got the 2 hanging on his quarter panel, the 6 wants to lead, that's what happens.
Well, good news is he can pit here if he wants, and we'll have pit stops after this. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's take a look now at our Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap. And there's been a lot to talk about. First up, you see Parker Chase on fire. Believe it or not, after all of this, he's back out on track with a new dash.
Unfortunately, his interior guy can't put a whole new hand from beating the dashboard fire out, Phil. But second wreck here, man, the 18 and the 43 pinch each other in the fence. Both guys are having a long day, but the 43 sits in 10th place right now.
Watch this now. You see the circle. That's Brian Doza under the caution flag. Somehow veers to the outside and then runs into Daniel Dye, that 43 car. Daniel had absolutely no idea that was coming.
Man. And then we saw Will Kilmo, unfortunately, blow a right front. Big old oil fire. His day is over. In a top 5 run for him.
And how about our leaders battling right there, getting into each other? The 6 of Rajah Caruth and Nick Sanchez in the 2.
Andy J, a little bit of residuals after his first right front tire damage, oil fire. He came out of the car. He is all good, but unfortunately his day is done.
And there you have it. After 49 of 100 laps, 5 leaders, 5 lead changes, cars on the lead lap 16, cautions 4, but we're at our stage break right now. Kate, we had some takers for adjustments in tires. What'd you hear? Oh, yeah, that's not good.
Well, we got one tire loose, and we'll figure out who that belongs to. But with Rajah Caruth, they took 4 tires, they did fuel, and he was saying he's in 3 and 4, it's super bumping. He is way too tight getting around in there. And meanwhile, in the number 2, after that little contact with Rajah, his teammate, they were asking him how the car felt. Did they smell anything? And Nick says, hey, the car feels actually just the way it did prior to coming in. He did say there's some daylight on that right front, and so they're going to bare bond that up. As you can see, they're making some efforts there. It was 4 tires and fuel for Nick Sanchez. Meanwhile, in the 20 camp, that was 4 tires and fuel. Corey Heim was dealing with radio issues at the beginning of the race, and they said that has been sorted as well. And as Shannon Rush, the crew chief, just said on the number 20, it is feeling a lot better than it did in practice. And then we can see right there that is the tire that is missing.
Oh, no.
That, I believe, is the 06 of Zachary Tinkle. So the 20 thinks he has problems.
But what I also see is the drive plate was off, too, with the axle leaking grease all over the place. So not good.
All right, second half of this ARCA Menards series coming up after this as they jack that car up, get that tire back on, get their driver out. ARCA Racing on FS1 is brought to you by Sprecher Craft Soda, Fire Brewed Craft Soda, official soda of NASCAR. And trouble there. We found the culprit. It was Zachary Tinkle. He came back in and they got the wheel put back on that car, but I think they have bigger issues as they've now brought it back to the garage. That thing is rolling.
Not with the other 3 teammates of his, though. He needs to be on there with the car. That's never good when you lose tire.
Well, today's Rookie Spotlight brought to you by Bounty. And you take a look at the standings here. Rajah Caruth on top with Daniel Dye in the 43, back just 2 points. Tony Breidinger, haven't talked about her a whole lot today. And Amber Balkin. But Rajah, he's showing that he belongs on top of the rookie standings the way that he has been racing all year long, not just today. I mean, he's leading the rookie standings and he's also leading the driver points for the ARCA Menards series.
Yeah, you add Nick Sanchez to that. And those are the 3 drivers we talked about at the very beginning of the year in Daytona that were going to be our championship contenders. Right now, they're within 2 points of each other.
Speaking of Nick Sanchez, let's check in on his radio.
It would have been fine, but he hesitated for whatever reason. We were able to slip back outside of him and he squeezed us. So just got up too late after Lambert cleared him is what I 100% think. 10-4. They've got a damn, we're teammates and we're 1-2 and we can run each other in a fence. Like, yeah, I'm with you.
That's got to be an awful feeling for both drivers because they're good friends as well.
Well, that's the classic case. It just depends what trailer you're standing on, who's at fault. I put a little more weight onto the outside into the 2 because he really hung on the right rear corner of that 6 when he had position. So it was unfortunate to see 2 teammates run into each other. I hope this 2 doesn't have too bad a damage because I do want to see a pretty good race of this thing.
Well, we've got a new leader in the number 23, Connor Mosak. Let's get to know him a little bit. From right here in Charlotte, this is his home track. He's got a couple of wins here. 2020 Cars Tour Rookie of the Year. He's a road course guy. And oh yeah, by the way, just recently engaged to now fiance Darren.
He will actually leave here and go to Lime Rock to race a Trans Am car tomorrow.
Got a lot going on and doing a heck of a job, Kate.
he is doing a heck of a job here. Talking to the crew chief over there in the 23 camp, he's saying that they put tires on 35. He said he's so confused why nobody else was following suit there. Tires and fuel, he said, but they did do a big swing as well, as he's very tight over bumps in turn 3. They said shock, left rear rubber, some air pressure. So right now, though they're a little off strategy than everybody else, Connor Mosak and the team over there is feeling pretty comfortable with where they're at in the standings.
Doing really nice for Brett Holmes Racing, and Shane Huffman, the crew chief, really think highly of this young man, and it shows. I mean, he's run 2 races, top 10. He's leading here right now, and she mentioned it. He last pitted on lap 35, so mix it up a little bit.
Well, that's what Kate was talking about. Shane Huffman didn't understand why other people, because that gets them in their pit window, because we know they can run about 60 to 65 laps. We knew we were going to have some caution laps. Right here we had caution laps, so I think that's what he was wondering, is why other people didn't take advantage of that. And he still has a set of tires in the pits. If we get a caution with 20 laps to go, we're going to have 8 cars on the lead lap. Those guys will come back in at 20 laps to go and put tires on.
Because as we saw at the stage break, you don't have to pit. It's just an option to pit. So they took advantage at an earlier caution and brought it down and mixed up the strategy a little bit.
With as many caution laps we've been seeing and as many incidents, you know, only having these short spurts, track position is so important, and try to get that clean air. But unfortunately for Mosak, that 6 cars had a rocket ship lining up to his outside, so Rajah's going to make it really tough for that 23 to get away.
But I like the strategy, though. Let's see what we can do in clean air. If maybe we can't run with a 6 now, maybe we can't run with a 2, and maybe we get another opportunity, we'll come back in and put more tires on it and make some more adjustments. I like that strategy by Shane Huffman.
Absolutely. Amber Balkin in the 6th position. Had a really solid day, taking advantage of a couple guys' misfortunes already, but she's in a pretty good spot here for the rest half this race.
Tony Breidinger also in the top 10. Remember, we had both ladies in the top 10 at Kansas last time out.
Starting to become a trend a bit.
A little bit of a trend. And Parker Chase, we just showed his onboard. I just still can't believe he's still in the race after the issues, the electrical fire he had earlier on. Well done to that Venturini Motorsports team. All hands on deck, and they kept him in. And sure, takes him out of contention for the win. But as you talked about, the points are everything, and they're still in the hunt for that at the end of the year.
There's only one guy that's a lap down in front of him, so he might be able to get a lucky dog here.
So never say never. Raja Karuth on the outside. Nice view on the front row now for a few restarts in a row, but Connor Mosak doing a nice job on the bottom, trying to hold him off as they go side by side.
The bottom has been the preferred groove here in 3 and 4. Let's see if the 23 can hang on. The 6 is a bit free. Dirty groove up there to the middle, but the 6 launches out of turn 4 with the lead.
Remember, brand new sticker tires on those other guys, not the 23 of Mosak. He has a handful of laps, and his tires were a little bit hotter than these other guys.
For sure. Definitely an important thing to have cool tires. And as we see these cool tires, guys gravitate right to the bottom, making the most amount of grip and the shortest amount of distance.
Raja Karuth takes over the lead once again. Now 30 laps led today as he holds off a hard-charging Corey Heim in the 20, who coming in, many would say he was the favorite, although they said they struggled a bit last year. They said they struggled a little bit in practice. They definitely had to work on that car, but I'll tell you, these Max Siegel Rev Racing Chevys have really given him a fit sideways right there.
Big wiggle by the 6. And that just happens, man, when that thing loads into the bank. Big lead change. Corey Heim to the lead, was really hounding the 6 and pressured him into making a mistake.
And you saw it, yes, and we've seen a couple mistakes like that today. Just getting the pressure, you look in the rearview mirror, Corey Heim goes by, see you later.
Remember, we had an opportunity for Shannon Rush to make some adjustments on that 20 of Corey Heim.
And they did take advantage of those adjustments. The 6 had to check up a little bit as Heim just had a nice run to the outside.
Let me tell you, it doesn't look that big on television, but a bobble like that feels like you are completely backwards. The 6 is so sideways right now. They obviously didn't make the right adjustments on that thing at the halfway break, and I chalked that up a little bit, Phil, for Raja's first time here. Doesn't know the track swings free as it takes shade, so Raja's hanging on a bit more than he likes.
See, move up the racetrack now, leaves the bottom open for Brandon Jones. Remember how good Raja was on the top of the racetrack in 1 and 2. That's gave him the momentum to pull up beside Nick Sanchez before that competition caution. But that car's pretty loose right now.
Brandon Jones with the Menards onboard goes to the inside. Can he get it to stick this time? Raja holding steady on the outside. Raja was free earlier. Kate, what are you hearing?
There's another issue here. He's saying it's definitely on the loose side, and he's trying to learn how to drive and deal with these loose cars. He said one thing he did tell me before was that he does feel more comfortable loose than he did starting the season. But as Corey, you're saying, he doesn't know about this track. This is the first time he's out here, and he's just trying to get comfortable with what the car is doing in general.
Yeah, and they only had one shot. He mentioned he was loose. I wonder if any of that has to do with the damage that he took to the right rear quarter panel when him and Nick were racing out of turn 4, because that right rear quarter panel is so sensitive, and if he pushed that over a little bit, he's definitely losing some side force, Phil.
Yeah, good battle right here. You see the 8 of Sean Corr. This is Daniel Dye just outside the top 10, battling actually for a top 10 position here. Daniel Dye trying to make his way back up from the back after adjustments during that competition caution.
Daniel Dye, another one of those. I can't believe he's still in it. Issues early on, got wrecked under caution. He's got issues in the back, the right side of his car, but he's still ticking in the top 10 right now, battling Sean Corr in the 8 for a top 10 as they're side by side. As you see, the 15 now entered the fray of Parker Chase.
Parker Chase a number of laps down, but still out here soldiering on, chasing the points.
And just ahead of that battle, Tony Cosentino, his career best finish is 9th, so he's looking at a career day here at Charlotte.
Battle for second still continues. The 81, that Tide car looks so nice. Brandon Jones, he'll run the Xfinity Series tomorrow, already a winner this season. And he comfortably takes over second, and Raja Caruth settles back in third. Corey Heim continues to lead now. 8 laps so far in that 20 car. Brandon Jones, Raja Caruth, Connor Mosack, and Nick Sanchez, your top 5. More from Charlotte Motor Speedway after this. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., head over to the ARCA Menards Series Twitter page at ARCA_racing to vote on what moment you think was today's sweet move of the race, presented by Reese's. Perhaps this could be it right now. You got Brandon Jones in the 81, charging down the 20 of Corey Heim. Got Venturini Motorsports versus Joe Gibbs Racing. Coy Gibbs owns that number 81. Looking to the outside. Whew, going by a lapped car.
Ooh, that outside lane's really dirty, but he got to the outside quarter panel. He's going to take the lead here, Brandon Jones.
Corey Heim gave him room. He realized he was there. Spotter told him he was outside of him and did not squeeze him. But Corey's fighting back on the inside.
Not giving it up. Brandon Jones up high, Corey Heim on the bottom, and he clears him. Brandon Jones to the lead for the first time today.
I believe you're starting to see experience prevail a little bit after that adjustment. Once Brandon Jones gets acclimated to this ARCA car, they made the right adjustments, him and Shannon Rush, during that pit stop. And they, from my opinion, have out-adjusted that 20 and the 6 of Raja Caruth.
Nice move on the outside. Look, a little bit, ooh, what a wiggle by Corey Heim. What a save.
It was a great save. You saw Corey Heim's hands. Watch if you can see his hands in behind the windshield working. Swatting flies in there. That's a big moment by the 20, but he's able to keep it straight.
Maybe a Reese's Sweet Move nominee? We'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. That's my early call.
All right. Kate?
The number 20 team is Corey Heim is telling him that Brandon Jones has carried so much momentum out of the corners, but keep digging, boy. Corey Heim responded by saying, "It's freaking loose, guys. It's freaking loose." And they continue to tell him, turn that left fan on. That is what you need to do right now. Corey says copy. A lot of work for Corey Heim right now.
And Corey might have had the Reese's Sweet Move of the race with that save, but I can tell you who's not having some sweet moves is that 6 right now. He is hanging on for dear life. Every time I see that 6, man, he is so sideways. No matter which lane, if he goes to the middle, if he goes to the bottom, Raja's not having a lot of fun behind the wheel.
Well, we heard Raja Caruth in the 6 on his radio earlier before the stage break saying he was free, but he liked it like that. He can move it around, but he's not thinking necessarily ahead as you talked about, and he's got his hands full.
And there's a fine line between being free and too free. You cannot make any time up if you're too loose and having to wait on that throttle.
Well, the saying is, if you're loose, you're fast, on the edge, you're out of control. Well, I can assure you, the more your right hand goes to the right, like we're watching him right now, I can assure you your right foot's not going down unless you're Kyle Larson. So that 6 is a little bit too much, too free. But what we're seeing now is turn 1 and 2 is completely shaded. The half of 3 and 4 is shaded, and this track has gained a lot of front turn, and you needed that rear grip to match, or else you're going to be turning backwards.
Yeah, that track temperature's coming down. We saw it over 110 degrees when we started. It's probably down now in the 90s, I would think. And as you mentioned, what gets to the grip first? The front of the car.
For sure, the front picks up a lot of potential to turn. It gives a lot more positive feel with that right front. And if your left rear, your right rear didn't have a whole lot of lateral capability, it's not going to be able to keep up, and the balance is going to change.
Look at him working that wheel. You could see those front tires just turning left and right, trying to keep it on the track. And his teammate, Nick Sanchez, he was penalized for pitting a second time after that stage break, but he's done a nice job. Bringing back sideways. Raja Karuk, you talked about it.
Oh, my Atlanta. What a save.
He's like, yeah, you say I'm all good. Whew. Catch your breath there, Raja.
I thought they was going to go to the bottom. Yeah, copy that.
Woo. You see the damage on the right rear.
Talk about hands being busy.
Busy hands by Raja. That was a moment for me in the booth. My man was working in there. He was in a bad aero spot combined with that thing already loose. And then you see all that white stuff, all that speed dry up top of the racetrack. And that was a recipe for disaster, but Raja was able to hang on.
Raja's still hanging on to third right now. Let's look at it again.
He said he was talking about a lap car. He thought the lap car was going to go to the bottom. So he's really sideways right there and chases it up to the top of the racetrack. Maybe slight contact, but a great save by Raja.
So good. Such a good save.
Let's go on board. See what he was seeing and feeling.
He's trying to guess which way that lap car is going to go right now. And he guesses he's going to go a little bit late. Gets in a little bit high. Oh, my Lance. Now,
that's a nominee, Jamie.
That's a nominee.
That's my nominee now.
That's probably the sweet move of the race. Now, you'll see, take a look at that right rear quarter panel. It saved him a bit from spinning out, but that's definitely going to hurt his side force capability. Definitely knocked a little bit of speed out of that 6. And his loose condition is just going to get even looser with that quarter panel not being structured.
Yeah, Raja needs a caution flag right now is what he needs.
Yes, and we need a double box so we can keep him in it all of the time. Kate, what are they saying?
Telling him that the team saying big picture, Raja, it's going to be a good day. It's a good day nonetheless. But I go back to what Raja told me to tell Corey. Watch those white hands, and man, those things are working it in the car.
They really are. The college he goes to, riding on board with them. He's studying sports marketing. We'll see if he can hang on to it, maybe get lucky and be able to adjust on that car. But right now, it's all Brandon Jones as he leads the way. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Well, we talked about the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. Here are the nominees.
Corey Heim grabs the lead.
Man, the 20 as the 81 tries to roll his outside four to the lead. Big save out of Corey Heim.
That was a sweet move right there, but I like this move right here. Yeah. This is I'm going to vote at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for this one.
Huge save, guys, out of Raja Karuk. I'm sure he didn't think it was sweet in the moment, but he's going to come back and look at it on a replay. Like, yeah, that was pretty sweet. Keep that 6 out of the fence.
When you hear the tire squeal, it's bad, isn't it?
Oh, it's really bad. Usually, it's followed with a afterwards.
Yes, the fact that he's not back in the garage right now is amazing. That is a great nominee right there. So be sure to vote tomorrow morning.
And then, are you okay?
And now,
will it start? Yeah, I've had plenty of those. Hope that I have one on Sunday night because it is a long one, 600 miles around here.
It's only 400 laps, though.
That's it.
Yeah.
Man, it's one of those where the crew chief comes on or spotter comes on. All right, man, it's halfway. What do you need? And you're like, oh, my goodness. There's another 2.5 hours left. But that's what I myself love about it. It's just a mental grind from start to finish.
And now, how the race has changed. We had 4 cautions before the stage break. We've had 0 since. We're down to 11 to go. And the 81, Brandon Jones, putting on a clinic.
Yeah, he's opened up over a 6.5-second lead right now over this 20 car of Corey Heim.
Yeah, Jacob Cantor, the crew chief on the 81 car, obviously made some great adjustments. I saw the wedge wrench in the right rear corner, putting rounds in that right rear, which told me Brandon Jones is way too tight that first round. And I do think the track picked up some grip, and guys who are a little bit too free to start have been way freer.
And it's a brand spanking new car here that they brought to this racetrack for Brandon Jones.
And Brandon had just gotten out of the car. He had qualified for Xfinity, so maybe, you know, knew exactly kind of what the track was doing, how it was changing, and the fact that he's been here many times in Xfinity too. Having a great run now. We talked about Connor Mosack, his third start this year, top 10 in the 2 previous races, and this team said that he may get some truck races this year, so we'll have to wait and see.
I'm really impressed with Greg Van Alst. We talked about Greg full-time this year, had a great run at Kansas, had a top 10 at Kansas, another great effort here. He was racing with Connor Mosack just a few moments ago for that 5th spot. He's fallen back just a little bit right now.
He told me at Kansas he had an issue, and it actually, his car got so hot it burnt his backside, so they had to do all kinds of things to the seat and underneath it, and to help that heat issue, and said that he expected to be a lot better here. But here's another guy, a bunch of buddies, they build their cars. He has his own race shop in Anderson, Indiana, and living the dream, but he is running full time, so it's a lot of effort.
Man, a hot bum during the race is not fun, let me tell you. But he ran 7th at Kansas, trying to follow up with a 6th place here at Charlotte. Great run out of Craig Van Alst.
Car always looks so good, especially on this Memorial Day weekend. Stars and stripes on the hood. So Brandon Jones continues to lead. 25 laps so far today, and Corey Heim, they had a great battle for a while, but man, 81 is in a league of his own right now.
That thing came alive. Looking at 7 laps to go, taking a peek at Amber Balkan right now, running in the 8th position. Really solid day for her, Phil. She's done a good job, raced inside all the top 10 all day long as she passes Tony Drydinger. So good day at her.
Yeah, I've been watching Amber. Her lap times have actually been pretty good. You can see her. She's has a little bit more pace right now than Tony does. Tony right now is being shown in the 11th spot, just outside of the top 10. But a great battle here for the 4th spot with Nick Sanchez and Connor Mosack.
Look at all the damage to that number 2. Had issues earlier, had the penalty, and here he is still battling for that 4th position. Connor Mosack.
Looks like he's got a tire down. He's trying to make it down to pit road.
Here, guys, got a flash. Slow down, slow down. Slow
Left front flat maybe, because both right sides are up.
Yeah, he's going to be speeding too. So
just hit the chip.
Yep, he just said it there. Unfortunate for Nick Sanchez.
All 4 tires are up though. Did it blow up, Phil?
Said it just hit the chip, and I'm not.
Carry on. Pull through. Keep your speed. Keep your speed.
Oh man, one problem's going to lead to another here, because he's definitely with speed coming down pit road.
He's running in the 4th spot.
Makes you wonder what he was feeling and thinking here with.
Brandon Jones commanding lead, a 7.5-second lead here. Setting sail, running middle, catching some lap cars, but he's experienced enough. He's going to be good and tidy with these and get around them.
You know, Jacob Cantor's no stranger to victory lane here. He's got an Xfinity win with Kyle Busch here back a couple years ago.
Man, I think I could crew chief for Kyle Busch here at Charlotte and get a win with
in an Xfinity car,
yeah.
or truck too, for that matter.
Make you look good, like a rock star, but.
Yeah.
And you called it. Nick Sanchez too fast entering on pit road. I wonder what he was feeling there, since obviously it wasn't a tire.
Yeah, I'm not sure
what the deal was. Went back out on the track.
Bizarre. Certainly he felt something, because an experienced guy like Nick Sanchez wouldn't have just yanked that thing down pit road if he didn't have a legitimate concern. So I wonder if Katie can find anything out for us on that 2 or 3 laps to go here.
Raja Caruth, after being wrecking loose, still hanging on to that 3rd position. I mean, just consistency has been name of the game for Raja, and his first effort here as a rookie running full-time this season leads the regular series points standings over his teammate Nick Sanchez.
Now, I know this wasn't the day as strong as a car that Rajah had, that he wanted to come away with the trophy. But these days, when he comes out of here third, are the championship-type run days you have to have. When the car doesn't drive or end the day as good as he wanted it to, he could have got frustrated. He could have got spun out or back in the fence there when it's not handling well. But he's going to come out of here with a podium finish and move on.
And white flag is in the air for Brandon Jones. One more lap to go. Has extended that lead to over 8 seconds over the 20 of Corey Heim. Rajah Caruth, Connor Mosack, and Greg Van Alst in the top 5.
So I think Brandon got some great experience just seeing the way that the track changes over the course of the day for the Xfinity race.
And Brandon Jones, well, he's just here to win, here for the trophies.
Flag here, man. Nice job.
Checkered flag in the air. Brandon Jones wins it at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Good job keeping your head and running a good line all day.
25 years old from Atlanta, Georgia. His 6th career ARCA Menards Series win.
He'd try to get tomorrow night, too.
Nice work here. Take your lesson learned today. Go double down tomorrow.
That's
there
right. I think I heard you. Nothing like a little motivation, a little momentum after you get the big W the night before, right, Corey?
Anytime you can grab that checkered flag, it's definitely confidence boost so that he can be able to carry that in for tomorrow.
Corey, would you believe he's the oldest winner in the last 26 races in the ARCA Menards Series?
And what's he, 24?
25 or 6. So.
Definitely a young man's game, Phil.
Yes, it is.
Well, he took his time. Didn't lead till late. Made some good adjustments. And now he burns it down.
First of 5 races that Brandon's going to run here in the ARCA Menards Series.
Well, he's starting them off pretty good. 1 for 1 this year. Brandon Jones got to be happy about that.
The 25-year-old parks it on the start-finish line.
Still a long night of racing yet with the truck race rolling off here after us, Jamie.
Yes, we have the truck series coming up. Boys in the booth will be taking over. I love this part. When you get to run out and you see the driver climb from the car, take off their helmet, and you see the kids, the fans wait as the driver collects the checkered flag. Brandon Jones. The 33 laps today. Denise Engel, our flag woman, giving him that checkered flag.
Mission accomplished. Get the W. That's what Brandon Jones was here for.
10 more laps. Don't have enough practice in Xfinity, so I want to run as much as I can, is what he told me this morning. And, well, it's paying off so far as he gets disconnected. Kate Osborne is there with our winner.
A celebration here for Brandon Jones to kick off his ARCA season, if you will. One of your 5 that you're competing in this weekend. But, you know, you came here to win. That was the goal this morning. Patience, though, played a big part of it, and you did it the right time. But what was this race all about for you from start to finish?
Yeah, gosh, Corey made me work for it there pretty hard. Track position was everything tonight, like I figured it was going to be. We kind of got back to about 4th, 5th in that area. Became pretty difficult to pass. Like, those guys took off really well there, and I think Jacob did a phenomenal job adjusting at that stop. We had some stuff to work through a little bit, and really made sure that this Toyota Camry got back out front. So big thanks to those guys, man. I mean, this is a really, really fast Toyota Camry today. Tide, Bounty, Menards. Thanks, Menards, so much for letting me come and play and putting the same back in victory lane. It's been a while since I've been back in the ARCA Series, but going back to back from the last time we've been here.
And in 2018, he won here as well. So this is a track that suits you well. You have another race going on tomorrow. What did you learn tonight to take into tomorrow's race?
I was hoping that PJ1 resin spray, whatever you want to call it, was going to come in, and it certainly did. I think that was definitely the fastest way around the racetrack. I actually got passed up there from running down the bottom. They had to get up on the top and try to get me, and I saw that they made some ground up there. So put that in the middle notebook, made it work tonight, and I dang sure think it's going to come in tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to it.
You can see that smile on his face. A win is a win. It doesn't matter what series is in. And Brandon Jones is going to do a little celebrating here before Xfinity tomorrow.
Thank you, Kate. Yes, indeed. Well, he's already been to victory lane in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Now he's been to victory lane in the ARCA Menards Series. More from Charlotte Motor Speedway after this. And let's take a look now at the General Tire final results as Brandon Jones makes his way to victory lane. Happy team. Brandon Jones on top, Corey Heim and Raja Karuth still after all that third.
How about Connor Mosak, Greg Van Alst getting top 5 finishes?
Man, I just wanted to point out to Raja's day, but Andrew Balkin finishing 7th. Nick Sanchez coming down pit road a couple times, finishing the 8th spot.
Well, let's check in with Kate Osborne. She's caught up with Raja.
Yeah, as he's just hanging out, debriefing. The team did mention, Raja, that you were going to have a good day nonetheless, a win or not. Do you agree with it?
I mean, for sure, it was a good points day. Our Winston-Salem State Rams Chevy was great. I feel really bad off turn 4. I got cleared, and I was hesitant coming up, and that ruined both of our days as a company. So I feel bad about that. And then that kind of just took all of our side force away, and I was just so loose the rest of the race. So hate that we probably had one of the best cars and got nothing to show for it.
Well, we do have a little video to show of your work in the car, at least. At least your hands were moving like crazy. Talk us through the wild ride and what was going on through your point of view.
It's just loose, and with that one, it's just lap cars don't know what they're doing, just running in the middle of the racetrack. So just having to mess up my entries and run all over the place and get crap on my tires because they're in the way. So very frustrating, but I guess that's what the series is for, is people learning. So part of it.
Yeah, as he's finishing up watching that, you can see those white gloves moving, and that was his key for you, Corey, earlier today, to keep an eye on those.
Well, you could tell he's obviously frustrated, but he said nothing to show for it. I mean, to finish third again.
Absolutely.
Consistency is the name of the game. We will wrap things up from the ARCA Menards series here at Charlotte after this.
Harvick Nation, Logano Nation.
Good to see Blaney on the booth. He's the only guy without glasses. Maybe they need somebody who could see up there.
I got promoted to the air conditioning. We're probably going to screw up, and we all know that. These guys are really paying attention, too. Yeah. But it's always so much fun to have all the drivers on pit road as well.
Don't change the channel. This is the NASCAR Xfinity Series drivers only broadcast.
You did a good job right there. Oh, man.
Oh, that is always one of my favorite broadcasts of the year. As you see the lineup there, Kevin Harvick doing play-by-play once again, Joey Logano, and you got Austin Cindric now. He'll be on pit road. And Tyler Reddick as well. Those will be the pit reporters. I think that's one of the hardest jobs for them. So they have to interview everybody. They have to chase them around. They have to go to the medical center if there's an issue. But we're looking forward to that. So all the action coming up tomorrow at 12 Eastern on FS1. Now let's hear from our second place finisher, Corey Heim.
A disappointed Corey Heim is one could say here. Now, you said that you were loose throughout the entire day, but by the end there, your team was encouraging you. How important was that, knowing what you were battling to catch up with Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, regardless of that, I'm super proud of these guys, Adventure Motorsports, Shannon Rush and the whole crew just did a phenomenal job throughout the weekend. I feel like we just started off a little bit out of it, and we really just adjusted our way into contention there, and that's really all you can ask for. So I feel like if we got one more caution there, we were able to put tires on it, adjust on it just a little bit more and get the balance, right where we needed it. Might have had a shot at it right there, but regardless, just super, super proud of these guys.
And that is the takeaway in Venturini Motorsport, another second place here at Charlotte.
Thank you, Kate. Great job for you today. And well, this race had a little bit of everything. Last year we had one driver lead every lap, and that was Ty Gibbs. That was not the case today. We welcome you to the booth today. What'd you think? What was your takeaway?
Oh, and you welcomed me by fire the first 8 laps of this thing.
Literally.
Legitimately, stuff was all over the place, but I had so much fun. Hopefully you guys would have me back. But yeah, it was an interesting race. I think we saw the probably the best team in Gibbs Racing with the most experienced driver, Brandon Jones, take the win. So definitely exciting race from start to finish.
I know Raja wasn't happy with his third place finish, and I think he should be. Look who finished ahead of him. Brandon Jones, multi-time winner in the Xfinity Series, as well as a multi-time winner in the ARCA Menards Series, and Corey Heim, a multi-time winner in the ARCA Menards Series and a Truck Series winner this year. So he's in pretty good company. That boy has nothing to be ashamed of. He had a great effort.
Yes, he did. And Amber Balkin really stands out to me because she had some stiffer competition here, and she finished in the top 10 now for the second straight race, and it's her best career finish in 7th, so really well done by her. What else stood out to you?
Well, definitely a tricky track. We saw it bite some guys, and some guys were able to adjust on their car and get better. So I think you heard Raja's comments after the race. He was pretty down on himself, but there's definitely a lot to learn from himself as well as all the competitors here today.
I'm sure you made some mental notes for your race coming up on Sunday. Well, coming up, racing isn't over. We have action from right here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Race day for the Truck Series, and then we have the Truck Series action coming up. It'll be Vince Welch and the boys in the booth. We'll see if they have as much action as we did. And we thank you all for watching us here tonight. Enjoy your weekend. We salute those who paid the ultimate price for our freedom. Thank you from all of us here at FS1. Stay tuned. Race day coming up next.